Here. What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday, isn't it? What up, Chester? What up, C? What up, Pojen? Andy? Hope you guys are having a good day. I feel like we went through this playlist yesterday. What else we got? This one's called No Copyright Trap Beats. Huh? What? Huh? Huh? It's taking a while. I feel like it's a graduation. If you guys had a strong Monday, all the chalk kind of hit. The only chalk that didn't hit was like Joe Ryan, but it's kind of weird to use the word chalk when like a bunch of pitchers were 30% owned. So if you guys had a healthy dose of Kerry Carpenter and weren't just holding hands with the field like I was, you should have drew a profit. Had a couple lineups that were right there in it late. I had one lineup that was like 40 points back before Ohtani, Joe Ryan, and Brooks Lee took the field. And Ohtani got off to a rough start, and then Joe Ryan imploded, and then Ohtani homered just to rub salt in the wound. But what are you gonna do? We have a lot of baseball tonight. Pretty sure every team is playing. So we're gonna go game by game here, holding hands with the MLB Grind premium spreadsheet, getting our pitcher projections toy, and hopefully by the end of this, we'll have a decent read on the slate tonight, on the baseball games tonight, and maybe some props, yeah. Next hand slate. Yeah, today's slate is way different in terms of ownership. However, there is one team, the Twin Stack, is projected for like almost 20% ownership, like 17%. Meanwhile, every other team is like 5% or less. So that is a interesting bit of information. Yeah, 17% ownership as a stack. Then it goes to like the Royals. Every other team is 5% or less. So if you gave the slate the Twin Stack and went every other team, That wouldn't be a crazy process. Let's jump into it. In the 60s, overcast, chilling and killing. Not here. Nope. Although it's a little cooler today. It's only like high 80s, but dude, I mean, I was driving yesterday, 7:30 at night. It's 93 degrees. It's bad. It's summer. It's time. It's time. All right, let's get into this 3-game early slate. Got the Rockies and the Marlins. Rockies pulled out a stunner yesterday. And today, they got Chase Dollander taking on Sandy Alcantara. 3.6 run total for the Rockies, 4.6 for the Marlins. Dollander, 22% K rate on the season, 10.4% swinging strike rate on the year. He is a better prospect of theirs. So I think what we might want to look for is have we seen a progression in swinging strike rate, strikeouts, stuff like that, especially outside of cores, you know. So at Arizona, 14% swinging strike rate. At Texas, 8%. Royals, you can't hold that back. Every other game outside of Detroit at home has pushed double digits, so that's good. Let's go Stuff Plus. Stuff Plus lately has been good. That Arizona game, he had it, right? 115, that's what they're looking for. A game with 114 against the Royals, even though he wasn't striking them out. 120 against the Padres. So you're seeing a little bit of hope here. And I think with these raw prospects pitching at the major league level, especially on the worst team ever, it's going to take some time. But if there is a spot to kind of invest in that type of arm, it's against the Marlins. This version of the Marlins lineup, not a massive strikeout aggregate. And a lot of it really stems from 4 guys. But in this park on a 3-game slate, we got Paul Skeens. That's obviously going to be the top of the top. Well, other than that, chip in a chair, right? I almost want to play him more than I want to play Sandy in the same game. His stuff has been extremely diminished. 17% carried on the season, 167 on the whip. Obviously, you would get to him in a 3-game bubble because it's the Rockies, and the Rockies, they're just bad. But man, I think I'm a little bit more interested in Dollander's upside. So let's go like that, and then let's go. I'd probably go Substacks and Substacks on the other two. I don't really need to type them out, I guess. Rockies lineup did come out. Jordan Beck, Estrada, former Yankee great. Yes, sir, Mr. McMahon. Brendan Doyle, Orlando Arcia, Kyle Farmer, Mickey Moniak, Tyler Freeman. Rockies are 4-0 this year when they have an 8-game losing streak. Jesus. That's on me. That one's on me. I missed that. That's on me. I gotta do better. No, that game wasn't on any slate, so I don't think any of us had a piece of that. I'm kind of glad it wasn't. Because, boy, I would have got messed around with some Max Meyer curiosity. Astros and the Pirates. Actually, we gotta do some pitching projections. I lied. So for Dollander, let's go do 22%. Alcantara, let's go give him a 17%. Walker Heel, let's go 10. Sandy walks lefties a lot. There's 2 lefties, so I'm not gonna tax him as much. So I'm gonna go with 9%. And let's go look at pitcher outs. We got nothing for that game. What's that all about? give him 17 and a half. How about Sandy? I'll give them both 17 and a half, I think. Maybe I just go 17. Flatten it out. Lance McCullers up against Paul Skeens. God dang, you talk about a lopsided matchup. Although McCullers has scratched into a 28% K rate. Mainly because he's striking out lefties at 41%. Good Lord. Interesting. 3.2 run total for the Astros. Pirates on a 4. You know what we're seeing a lot this year? There's a lot more righties striking out lefties at a higher clip than righties. I guess that sweeper's taking over. But a 23% K rate for Skeens against righties, against a team that's going to feature mostly all righties and not a ton of strikeouts to boot. Now, normally I'd use this as some ammo to kind of push back. But on a 3-game slate, it's hard to contest that Paul Skeens isn't the best pitcher in the best park. And facing a platoon advantage lineup, but on paper, his advantage this season has been against lefties. So, I say all that to say this: Paul Skeens is still number 1, but it's not without some friction based on the elements against him here. And then Lance McCullers, I really am not that intrigued, but the Pirates kind of stank. The Pirates are in a pitcher park, but I don't know. I don't think McCullers is somebody that I need to. 12 strikeouts against the Athletics, 8 against Seattle. Has he found it? Has he found it? Maybe I'm sleeping on him. Let's go game log stuff plus. That'd be kind of a crazy story if he has found it. So get Sheldon in the beginning, then turns on a 105 stuff plus, then a 115 stuff plus against the Athletics. I hate when teams have like their best game against the Athletics and then Joe Ryan sucks. That's great. Plate discipline, double-digit swing and strike rate in back-to-back games. Maybe we're on to something here if you're an Astros and Lance McCullers fan. So on a 3-game slate, I think we have to include him. Lance McCullers. And we kind of chill in there. Slider to 100 points higher average than expect. A little bit of luck. Okay. Schwarber 2 bases and Turner plus 100. 2 bases and Turner. What does that mean? You parlayed both Schwarber and Turner to get 2 bases and get 1-1 or 100? Wait, I'm confused. He's just dropping bets. I respect it. As far as the stat go, neither team really makes you feel great. We have seen some power allowed from the Lance McCullers to righties. Maybe old school Kutch gets into one outside of McCutcheon. There's no righty in this lineup with an ISO worth mentioning. And then inversely, Paul Skeens, he'll let one slip here and there. We focus on his righty numbers. And this season, who the Astros have been most consistent, it's like Jeremy Pena. Pena, Paredes, Altuve, Walker. That's where you hope the damage comes from if you're an Astros fan, or that's where you expect it to come from. But just kind of a unremarkable overall WRC plus column. OPS, ISO, it's all kind of mundane, so not super interested in a full stack here. Next game, Cubs and the Nationals. This is probably where all your offensive upside pre-flop comes from. Cubs have a 5.3 run total. Nationals a 4.4. Pitcher for the Cubs, Cade Horton, up against Trevor Williams. I forgot to do a strikeout projection for Lance McCullers. I'm gonna give him a 25. 28 seems a little. I'm gonna go 26 for Skeensy. Let's go walk rate 11. Skeens 6. Oh, and then outs. Let's go 15 and 15. Anyway, Horton boasting a 4.13 expected ERA, 18.6% K rate on 11.8% swing and strike rate. So I do think that these two numbers, one of them is not like the other. Like you're not gonna hold a sub 20% K rate long with a 12% swing and strike rate. So either the swing and strike rate is going to come down or the K rate is going to go up, and I believe the K rate is going to go up. Looking at Cade Horton's minor league campaign, 33 strikeouts in 29 innings this season, so over a strikeout per. And then in his career, way more strikeouts than innings pitched. So another kind of push that his strikeouts should start coming. With that said, Nationals a little bit more scrappy, but not like super Royal-esque, right? A bunch of 20+ percentages, and then Kybert Ruiz, Dalen Lyle, and CJ Abrams kind of bringing it down with their 11, 17, 18.7% K rate against the handedness. So there's, on a small slate, some merit in getting to Cade Horton as a back pocket pitcher. Trevor Williams, inversely, he has been just fine, very serviceable, getting righties out, and then getting lefties out has been an easier said than done task. Striking him out at just 13%, that's looking a lot like his 2023 campaign, with a 300+ average, almost a 2 home run per 9, elevated line drive rate. Overall, though, his barrel rate's low, swing and strike rate is single digits. So yes, you want to target him with lefties. Do you leave out, a Seiya Suzuki or a Carson Kelly with this Nats bullpen? I probably wouldn't. But I'm gonna go Cubs 1, Cade Horton 2, and then looking at the Nationals offense and this projected, it's literally all lefties or switchies batting lefty. And Cade Horton's lefty stats have been pretty usable. 55% ground ball rate, sub 1 home run per 9, elevated average, but like these other righties, a higher K rate to lefties than righties so far. James Wood, Abrams, Dalen Lyle, I guess 3 guys that stand out to me if I'm trying to chip in a chair. Some bombs here. And because the Nationals, just in a bubble, have more talent, more offensive upside, I think I get to them in the rankings here. I'm going to go Cubs, Horton, Nats, as far as this game grades out. And this was the only game that I'm kind of looking at a stack. So this might be either some stackless baseball, or the Marlins and Rockies are names that we gotta click and just stomach it, right? Let's go strikeout numbers here. I'm gonna give Cade Horton a 20% K rate. Trevor Williams, I'm gonna go 18.5. And I might even be able to give Cade a 22 because that's isolating his splits. Now it's only a 20 innings, so I'm gonna stay at 20. Walk rate, let's go 3 and 6, and some outs, 15.5. Both kind of leaning under 15, so I'll go 15.5 though. And there's really not a pitcher other than Paul Skeens I can give quality start points to, so I'm not. This changeup is going crazy. That makes sense. What up, Op Pack? I get it. Op, like my ops, right? No, because ops has 1P. I don't know. What up, Op Pack? 420. Hope you're doing all right. You like Tanya Lyle? 2 bases. You ever get like stuck at for like Lyle, if he's batting 9th at home? Does that ever kind of like turn you off? Or I'm not saying it should. I'm just saying, do you think like that? Sometimes that gets me when I'm betting props. We do have a Pirates lineup. O'Neal Cruz, Andrew McCutchen, Brian Reynolds, Spencer Horwitz, Canario, Nick Gonzalez, Henry Davis, Key Brian Hayes, IKF. So we can green light that. And now we can open up the afternoon slate. Yeah. All right, shakes out Skeens, Sandy, McCullers, Dolander, Horton, Trevor. So basically, Skeens is in a league of his own on his 3-gamer. Sandy, I think, is getting a little love because of his 17 out projection. Almost 7 hits is crazy against the Rockies. I don't know, man. All right, we'll move on to the main slate. 12-game main. Buckle up. Guardians in Yankee Stadium. Tanner Bybee taking on Carlos Rodon. 3.4 run total for the Guardians. 4.8 for the Yankees. I don't know why Ramirez isn't populating. This is a pretty important one, so let me take a second to figure this out. Jose Ramirez? What? So I'm thinking I must have effed something up. That in post. Alright, we're good there. Alright, if it comes up Martinez, I know exactly what I did. In which case. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Alright, so I guess when I replaced all the eyes with the special characters. Guess I didn't change the letter correctly. So, this is pretty important. This sucks. This is going to be boring. Talk amongst yourselves. I have to fix it. Otherwise, it's going to look really, really bad. Tibbs got fired. That's an interesting. What team hires Tibbs next? Wasn't Tibbs like the president of basketball operations, not necessarily just a coach? I think with Tibbs, we've all have essentially disagreed with the way he runs players into the ground during the regular season. And while he's often a good regular season win-loss record guy, get to the playoffs and the gas tanks are low, so I don't know. But also like says a lot about the Knicks, because you got pretty far. You got further than the expectation, and that's just the bloodbath of sports, I guess. championship or bust. Dang, does that mean I might have... I'm a bot. Genius plus 150 now. That go up or down? Dude, the one thing I hate about Texas, when it rains as much as it's been raining, we get like gnats and mosquitoes. And unless you got like a sealed freaking wall, which I do not, every now and then you'll just be chilling, and then like a little mosquito or a little gnat is in your face. 'Cause these old walls, or these windows where I got all these window units at, they find their way in. All right, we now resume your regularly scheduled broadcast. Let's reset the bond detector now. That definitely, look at that. Oh yeah. It went down. Dang. All right, Guardians of the Yankees started again. Tanner Bybee taking on Carlos Rodon out there in Yankee Stadium. So during the day off, Yankees learned they will be without Luke Weaver, who's been just an incredible closer for them going into last season. He's going to miss some time too, which now means they're going to go back to Devin Williams, which I feel like is fate. You see that sometimes a closer gets demoted and then something somehow gets them back in a closer spot and they do just fine. They also get back Fernando Cruz, and then they also get back Josh Chisholm today, and it sounds like he might play third base. So we'll see them. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I don't know. We'll see. Want Tanner Scott? Yeah, well, you want me? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, probably not. Well, we do have Tanner Bybee taking on Carlos Rodon. Bybee, a sub 20% K rate on the season. His swing and strike rate has certainly diminished from 12.2% last year to sub 9% this year, and that elevated home run per 9 to both sides of the plate, especially to lefties, where he's boasting a 2+ home run per 9 to lefties and a 9.6% overall barrel rate. And you guys might have heard Yankee Stadium could certainly serve him up to lefties at a high clip. Looking at this projected Yankees lineup and where we would put Jazzy in, Jazzy probably falls somewhere between the 5 and 7 spot. I see Jazzy in a projected 5 hole on Labs. I feel like it would be insane to put Ben Rice at 7, so I would probably put Jazzy at 7, Ben Rice 5, but I'll wait for that official lineup to come out. Any which way you slice it, not a real fun spot for Tanner Bybee. So not going to be high on my interest ranking. Yankees bolstering a 4.8 run total. So I'm going to go Yankees interest first of all. Next, Carlos Rodon. Now that Max Fried, got his butt whooped. Now that there's a couple of question marks. Carlos Rodon has been steady Eddie. I'm kind of glad he didn't catch that Dodger series because that'll break him. He is facing a Guardians team that is half and half. The first half are a little bit more scrappy, high ISOs against lefties, high OPSs, high averages against lefties, and a WRC plus. Forget about it. But then it drops off a cliff pretty quickly. We get to Arias, Noel, Wilson, and Hedges. So I am gonna be somewhat interested in Rodon, but understand this is a super boom bust spot. So I'm gonna go Rodon second, And I don't think I'm gonna not have Guardians. I think Stephen Kwan, J-Ram, obviously you can play him anywhere. You give Carlos Santana the short porch, and you dip into now a Yankees bullpen with some question marks, with Luke Weaver being the linchpin no longer there. So it's been a while since we've seen that Rodon implosion game, but it can happen. It can happen. So I do think Guardians kind of makes some sense in the grand scheme of a big slate. So I get there. I do it. Let's go put out a projection here. Tanner Bybee, I'm gonna go 19% K rate for Rodon. He's gonna be facing all righties, and much like, no, he's not. One lefty, Stephen Kwan, and then all righties. So we could live with the 31% K rate. Walk rate for Bybee. Let's go 8%. Rodon. Let's go 8.5. Kind of play Yanks, I think they won't be that owned. Dude, I'm looking at the stack ownership. Basically, anyone that's not the Twins is 5% or less owned as a stack. The Twins are just like up there. If I'm looking at the Yankees stack on DraftKings, Yankees came in at 3.7%. And like I said, if you gave the field their 17% Twins and just kind of went with everyone else, you might have a fair shot at some leverage if the Twins just collapse. Obviously, the likelihood of the Twins collapsing against Vito in Sacramento is not high. But from a game theory perspective, if you gave the field one option, which 17-18%, that's kind of rake territory, and that gives you enough to disperse amongst the rest of the stacks. Could be fun. Or at least only get to Twins in like 3 mans or something. Looking for a long shot like the X-Men character, my Dinger Tuesday boost on Fanduel is like a real Padres catcher, Maldonado, or something like plus 1200 with the booster. You're looking for a long shot homer, and you said Hedges. 9-hole Hedges. I got him as value versus the actual line. Is Hedges one of those catchers you know for sure is playing today though? Xavier Edwards, dude. Xavier Edwards being almost plus 200 as the leadoff guy against the Rockies pitching is kind of crazy. Or plus 1700. You just couldn't stop me. Starling Marte came in pretty high too. But anyway, Rodon against righties limits down to 3 main pitches. Fastball, slider, changed with Cleveland ranking the bottom 10 in baseball versus both breaking ball. Dude, Jake is like a beautiful mind. All right, let's go outs for Bybee. Jake should be writing articles somewhere. 18, 16 and a half. So, Rodon, 18, 16 and a half for Bybee. That's why you thought Austin. I mean, Austin doesn't project especially great. But it's not bad either. If you're looking for like super long shot. Yankee Stadium against the lefty. But not really a super ISO guy. What up, Mike? They're gonna go on Kirby at pitcher for value. Cousin Joe Ryan, yeah. Phillies at the Blue Jays next up. Chris Sanchez taking on Bowden Francis. Phillies have a 4.9 run total. Blue Jays sitting on a 4.3. Sanchez 27.6% K rate this season, sub 20% for Francis. The home run's kind of there for Sanchez, but not at a high clip. And then Sanchez has really found those strikeouts. And we know with Sanchez, I don't need Jake for this one. Sanchez throws a changeup really good. I did it, Mom. And with the Blue Jays pitch report, we got a couple guys that hit the changeup pretty well. So we did see some flashes of life for the Blue Jays offense in that Athletics series, but that's what Athletics pitching will do to you. Francis, a little bit more of a contact profile. Bryce Harper, I guess, should be back. He missed some games with a little injury scare. If he's back today, it definitely lengthens this Phillies lineup a lot of bit, and makes them a more fun flat stack. So, assuming Bryce is back, I'm in on Phillies. I'm also in on a little bit of Blue Jays, but more of a sub stack, I think. But the Phillies bullpen is very gettable. Vladdy, Springer, Kirk, Clement is a 4-man, so I guess I don't need to designate a sub stack. And then just betting on talent, Chris Sanchez, high ground ball rate, high strikeout rate. Somewhat interchangeable with the Blue Jays as far as the in-game ranking. That's how that shakes out for me. So let's go do a pitcher projection here. Let's go 27.6% for Francis. We're going to go 19.5. Pojan with the $2 dono. Bing bong. I got to bring that back. That was a fun note. Appreciate that, Pojan. We got some Ghost, and we got some Munchies. So today's $2 is like, this right here is probably like $5. So you put down almost half of it, half a down payment on a Ghost and some Snickers. I appreciate that. I do. Let's go walk rate on Sanchez at 8%. Jake is like Chat GPT, but baseball. Let's go 7.5% here. Let's go with some outs. 17.5, 15.5. What up, King of all trades? Hope you're doing all right. That's how we project that game out. We got a couple lineups on this early slate, so I'm gonna go back and get those updated real quick for the premium members that need it. Xavier Edwards, Jesus Sanchez, Augustine Ramirez, Stowers, Lopez, Wagaman, Dane Myers, and his home run robbing ways that I'm not salty about at all. Okay, we greenlight the Marlins lineup. Astro side, unconfirmed. Nationals lineup came out. Abrams, Wood, Nate Lowe, Garcia, Josh Bell, Robert Hassel, Kybert Ruiz, Jose Tena, and Lyle, as projected. You know what I hate? You know what really grinds my gears? Sometimes I sit around here and I need to go do some errands in the city, but I gotta wait for two teams to drop a lineup, and they wait till the last minute, and then it's the exact same lineup that I had. I hate that. And that just reminded me of that, how much I hate that. Like that Super Troopers movie, did my part. Yeah, appreciate that. 3 weeks and I don't have time to do actual research. Uh-oh. Post All-Star break Jake is gonna be, it's gonna be a beast. Brewers and the Reds. Man, this game, it teased me a little bit yesterday. I said it. Reds were like fourth lowest owned. Savali had some ownership. I was like, if this is going to be the fourth lowest owned team, I'm in. And then they started out decent, and then all the chalk started smashing, and then they stopped scoring. Friedel, Gavin Lux. We do have a confirmed lineup for the Reds, by the way. Ellie De La Cruz looks a lot like yesterday's lineup. And this will be the spot where I don't like them as much because they're up against an elite pitcher, and they go crazy. Hashtag baseball. That's baseball, Susan. Reds, green light. We got Freddie Peralta taking on Hunter Green. What a pitching matchup we got here. Both pitchers having a great season. They're going to have to contend with 80-degree temps in the Great American Small Park. But Peralta this season, a 24% K rate, a 13% swing and strike rate, a less than a 1.2 whip, a 3.57 expected ERA, striking out righties at a higher clip than lefties. This lineup's going to come out half and half, and their lefties are pretty much their better guys in terms of overall power, walk rates, all that stuff. But the home runs have been against righties. You're not really going to have to worry about that too much. Maybe a Tyler Stevenson, Spencer Steer will catch you slacking. But pre-flop, it's going to be a scrappy environment, but the talent on the seesaw is on the ground for the pitching. And then Hunter Green, inversely, 31% K rate. He's facing a Brewers team that looks like they're waking up lately. Christian Yelich, if you ain't been paying attention, has certainly woke up. He got into one yesterday as well. His last, I think, 7 games are pretty immaculate. 4 for 6 in that 17-run game. Yesterday he hit a homer. 3 for 5 a game before that that 4 for 6 game. You know, a bunch of multi-hit games in his last 10, right? With a bunch of homers involved. So that's a good sign for him. Also, Rhys Hoskins. Week 1 of the season, everyone was talking about the torpedo bats and the Yankees. Well, the torpedo bats was laying it on the Brewers, and Rhys Hoskins ordered him one. And apparently, ever since he got that, he's like one of the main players no one talks about that has benefited from the torpedo bat, and you're kind of seeing that. So those are just mental notes to keep in your pocket going forward with the Brewers. Because if Jackson Chourio can start clicking again, William Contreras, that's a great 4-man core to spin around on an average day in a good spot against a beatable pitcher. Now Hunter Green, gotta have a lot of respect for him as a pitcher. Heavy fly ball guy still, both sides of the plate, is allowing homers to lefties. If you're gonna target a guy that can hit homers and not strike out, it's probably Christian Yelich, so that'll be your matchup to watch for in this one. But just a couple of housekeeping notes about the Brewers, because there are some interesting quirks within that lineup today. I think pre-flop, though, we gotta bet on talent, and I think the pitchers are the more interesting upside spots here. But like I said, every stack on the slate, not named the Twins, have a 5% ownership. So you're not going to have to give up much in your portfolio of lineups tonight to be in some spots. I will always stack the ballpark if I've got enough equity in my portfolio, especially if I'm going to invest in Hunter Green and Peralta. You kind of head stack within your own set of lineups, and I think you can do that here. I think I'd lean Brewers over Reds, but that's not a snap call, and that's it. It's a scumdacker spot, all 4 corners. Seesaws weighted on the ground for the pitchers, but there's certainly a range of outcomes for offenses to come through. And if either offense does get one of these starters out early, both bullpens are certainly very, very, very beatable. So that's how I'm gonna shake that game out. Let's go put a pitcher projection involved for Freddie Peralta. Let's go 24% K rate for him. For Hunter Green, I'm gonna give him a 30. Walk rate 8%. Hunter Green 6. Kind of outs we working with Vegas, if any. 17.5, 16.5. All right. That's how we shake that one up. Hunter Green, 2-pitch pitcher, throws both well. Brewers ranked 24th versus the fastball with Hoskins, Contreras, only 2 positive guys. Nice. Yeah, Hunter Green, A little bit of velo, a little bit of funk. Let's move on to Fenway. This game put up a lot of runs yesterday. Pretty much expected to go back to the well here. I didn't have that one checked off. That might not be in the bomb detector right now. No, it'd be in the bomb detector. It wouldn't be in the stack ranking, which doesn't matter yet. All right. 5.1 run total for the Red Sox, 4.6 for the Angels. Both lineups did come out. We're rocking Zach Neto, Shanuel, Mike Trout, the youngster Michael Nelson worked himself up to the 3 spot. You gotta be, good for him. Good for him. Taylor Ward, Jorge Soler, Travis d'Arnaud, Luis Rengifo, Joe Adele, Chris Taylor. Red Sox, Sharon Durant, Rafi Devers, Rob Refsnyder, Carlo Romy Gonzalez, batting cleanup, Abraham Toro, Trevor Story, Ceddanne Rafaela, Connor Wong, Christian Campbell, green like that. You say Kikuchi up against Brian Bayo as your pitching matchup. 1.52 whip for Kikuchi. A lot of homers allowed to righties. Hasn't allowed one to a lefty yet. Rafi Devers and Jaron Duran, the only 2 lefties in the lineup. And Duran's not really a guy you're expecting power from anyway. So it's Devers. Does he keep Devers at bay to continue his streak of no homers allowed to lefties? While he does that, he's going to have to contend with a lot of righties. Rob Refsnyder, Romy Gonzalez, hit for great average, great ISO, good OPS, great WRC plus. And when we dip down to the bottom of this lineup, we got some guys that there's life in the bats, and historically, like Trevor Story could get you one, has to overcome his 35% K rate, but Kikuchi's 19% K rate this season, 2 righties just might do that. Inversely, Brian Bayo, 1.63 whip, 6 expected ERA, 16% K rate. All that's not what you want, but man, we have a case of some extreme splits. I mean, this is pretty egregious. First of all, just look at the xFIPs versus lefties, then versus righties in the last 3 years. Almost a 4.9 aggregate xFIP to lefties the last 3 seasons, while against righties, it's been about a 3. The K rates, he's not striking lefties out. The last 3 years against righties, 22 to 25% K rate, keeping the averages lower than he is against lefties, keeping the power suppressed more so than he is against lefties. Overall, good ground ball pitcher, 8% barrel rate. He does have an elevated line drive rate to righties. I'm still going to be stacking the ballpark here, but the Angels come out pretty righty heavy. So it wouldn't surprise me if Bayo kind of trolls into a usable spot at 6,300. Looking at the names on this slate, as far as the upside goes, is it a double barrel 30-30 game slate? Maybe Rodon, Green, Sanchez, Pablo, Freddie. Now, so far, every one of these guys is either in a tough park or tough matchup. Spencer Strider, there's no great pitcher that has an elite matchup yet. So go to 6K, Bayo, sneak in there with 15 and be serviceable, as that allows you to pay up for 6K bats maybe. But it's just one of those wonky games where pre-flop I can see a lot of scenarios playing out, especially if you really give him some credence on his righty splits, because the Angels, a lot of their power, a lot of their offensive upside comes from their righties. 190 plus ISO for Neto, 337 for Trout, Ward's 200 plus, Jorge Soler, and a lot of these guys also come with the ability to strike out at a high clip as well. Only the lefties in this lineup don't strike out that much, and that matches up pretty well with Bayo's lack of K. So this lineup almost plays to Bayo's strengths, and that could kind of be a troll spot. So I'm gonna go Red Sox. I still kind of want to believe in the Angels in this park, but Bayo is kind of a troll here. So I'm gonna go Bayo points per dollar, and then I'm gonna go Angels. What up, Rob? You're doing all right. Let's go 20% for Kikuchi's K rate for Bayo. Did we give Bayo a boost? I got him at 16% overall. But we're on 2 lefties. I feel like I can give him 20%. Maybe we get a break on this like K prop or something. I don't know. 13. Let's go 9% walk rate for Kikuchi. For Bayo, 6. I'll go 8.5. 15. 17.5. Man, why do I like Bayo more than these numbers like Bayo? I don't know. That gives me, for strikeouts, 5.34. I'm sure he's probably at a 5, 5.5. All right. What's up, Heath? Angels actually smashed the sinker. Interesting. All right. Let's do that. Let's keep it moving. D-backs and the Braves. 4.2 run total for the D-backs. Braves 5. We got a confirmed lineup for both these teams. Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, Perdomo, Josh Naylor, Suarez, Gurriel, Pavin Smith, Gabriel Moreno, Alec Thomas. Other side, Acuna, Drake Baldwin, Austin Riley. All right, Austin. Am I allowed to do McMahon jokes still? I don't know. What's the rules on that? Nick Allen. Michael Harris. Yeah. Zach Allen taking on Spencer Strider. So 2 good pitchers, 2 good offenses. This is going to be another scumdacker spot for sure. 22.6% K rate for Gallen this season. 1.62 home run per 9 against righties. The overall metrics look pretty similar to last season. So maybe there's some room for regression on that home run per 9. The barrel rate has jumped up, about 2%. But that looks a lot like his 2023 metrics, which, not all over the place. So 1.62 might be a little high. But he is facing a fun Braves lineup that has brought back Acuna, which has lengthened this lineup, and starting to see the emergence of Drake Baldwin as well. So this 1 through 5 in the projected is a fun stack day to day. Today you get a tougher matchup as far as pitching goes, but I'm in. Also, Gallen, real weak this year against lefties. 5+ xFIP, sub 20% K rate, 1+ on the home run per 9, and a 12.6% walk rate. So a little bit more of a boost for Baldwin and Matty Olson. And then inversely, Spencer Strider was I was a little bit worried after that first outing where he had 1 per inning against the Blue Jays, and then the second outing was and then we started having some velo issues, but then his last outing we started seeing a little bit of positive, some progression. So let's look at his game log here and just kind of start tracking some stuff. Now, I don't know that pitch count's ever going to put us in a spot where we're going to play him with a lot of confidence. I guess the velo's been about the same so far. Pitch type value. But that's kind of what we're looking for, is after an injury, how soon do we get the velo back? How soon do we get pitch counts worked up? And the swing strike rate, 11, 12, 13%. The Spencer Strider of yesteryear, 18.9% swing and strike rate. Now, it's still working his way into getting strikeouts, though. 27% K rate so far to righties, 23.5% to lefties. Really good, but the xFIP pretty inflated. The home run per 9 to righties so far pretty inflated. Now, all this is fun with small sample, and the D-backs are a pretty good team. A lot of our favorite bats from the D-backs, other than Suarez, are lefties. So we can kind of look at his lefty issue so far, which has been high fly ball, high hard contact, no homers yet, small sample, low line drive rate, but the xFIP's up there. So we're dealing with the unknown. We know what we don't know, and we don't know what we know when it comes to Spencer Strider. Need the Jake report here. Noel due from Angels like 1,300 for a homer plus booster 1960. You think it found a candidate? Mackenzie Noel in Yankee Stadium. I want to say Noel's like first at bat was a homer against the Yankees in the playoffs. If it wasn't his first, it was like one of his first, you know what I mean? Does have a 243 ISO. That's a chip in a chair in Yankee Stadium. That would be a perfect bottom of the order big swing if he's in there. For plus 2,000, I can see it. .284 expected batting average on his four-seamer this season. That's not what you want. Slider's been great for Strider. Four-seam not so much, and down about a mile an hour from last year. Yeah. Slider velo also down about a mile an hour. We're really just kind of looking at him with how soon is he going to be Spencer Strider again lens from a 13-game slate on what might be. I think he got to 90 pitches last outing. He just didn't get through 5. I'm on the fence here. It's just not my favorite matchup. Hasn't been my favorite matchup all year. Sub 20% K rate. But you get a reduced price. Maybe, you know, the OG in us are used to paying 10, 11K for Strider. You get him at 8,500, and you're starting to see some of those K rates come back. Same with Gallon. All right, let's just follow the numbers though. Let's go Braves stack. I'm gonna go D-backs, then I'm gonna go Strider, then I'm gonna go Gallon. 4 corners. Change his arm slot. Interesting. Looking at the premium Discord for MLB Grind, my boy Rich, I forgot it was Tuesday, but they have Taco Tuesday on PrizePicks. I guess Paul Skeens' tacos at 4.5. Now that I don't know if that's still active, but if you guys are prize pickers, you might be able to get Skeens at 4.5 Ks, and we have them at 5.7. So over 1 implied discount. Yeah, D-backs are a problem, and D-backs parlay their hitting prowess with aggressive base running. So it should be a fun game. D-backs bullpen also sucks, so Braves can get into Gallon early. They get into a attackable bullpen. So I'm on this game. What are the ownerships from this game as far as stacks go? Atlanta was at 4.7%, and the D-backs are at 2%. Dude, there are some fun ownerships if you get rid of the Twins. Fun ones. All right, did we put a projection here? We did not. For Gallon, we're gonna go 22.6. Spencer Strider, 25. Walk rates, 10.5. Strider, 9.5. Check our outs. 17.5 for Gallon. 16.5. Cool, moving on. Rangers and the Rays. Tyler Mahle taking on Drew Rasmussen. Got a game down there in Tampa. I guess I forgot to check with the weather. Looking at Mr. Ross' weather report. Orange yellow. The rainy season begins in Tampa. Strong storms will fire up in the late afternoon and likely continue through the early evening. It will eventually taper off and fizzle out as the sun sets, but we'll need to see how patient Tampa plans to be in these games. I think because this will become a common scenario going forward, they should try to wait it out as best as possible. Right now, I say a late start looks quite likely. Postponement is possible. So, in solidarity with Roth, let's put a bright orange there. Rain concern. And what he's saying is down there in Tampa, it's going to play a lot like Colorado. We're always getting these pop-up shower concerns. You're going to deal with this from Tampa essentially the rest of the season. And we're gonna have to learn, and this is why their schedule was so front-loaded. One, the heat in the summer. Two, the fact that the weather is so crazy. And this might set a precedent. How are they gonna react to rain down the stretch, especially against teams that are not in their division? Do they show patience? Do they start waiting it out, or do they not? So we're gonna learn a lot there. With that said, Tyler Mahle and Drew Rasmussen, neither pitcher we lose a lot from if we can't play them because of weather concerns, because on top of it all, it's a tough park and neither pitcher is like an ace, right? Now, sure, both pitchers have some spike upside game to game, and both teams have served up some spike upside games. 21% aggregate K rate for the Rangers, 23% for the Rays. But generally speaking, just a 21% K rate for Rasmussen on the year, 18% for Mahle. If you want to feel warm and cuddly with your lineups and not have to sweat rain, you don't feel like you're giving up a slate breaker in either of these two pitchers. The flip side would be if those storms came in later and you stole a complete game, but I don't think we have that here. So, assuming this game plays out, there's not a lot that I'm running to anyway. I'm probably cherry picking some bombs. Mahle against lefties has been pretty doggone solid at suppressing average, suppressing power. 374 xFIP, but a 0.3 home run per 9, 45% ground ball rate. His overall barrel rate's just 7%. And righties as well, not giving up a ton of power here, even though he has just a 15% K rate. Against righties, a 10% walk rate. 0.25 home run per night. So you're kind of hoping that this game doesn't go bananas if you're looking the other way. Now, it sounds like a lot of us might expect it to play and then wait it out. So if that changes your mood on something, go for it. I already talked about how small ownerships are on stacks not named the Twins. So you wouldn't have to give up much of your portfolio to be here if you wanted to be here. Rays lineup just came out. We're leading off Josh Lowe, then Lau, then Diaz, Aranda, Caminero, Mangum. Meisner is batting 7th. Danny Jansen, and then Taylor Walls. So about what you expect from the Rays. I don't think I'm gonna draw a ranking here, right? 13 game slate. Not every slate's got to be part of the ingredients. So I'm gonna leave this out. I'd be curious with some Rasmussen if I didn't have weather and ballpark concerns, because I just feel like he's a better pitcher than what we've been getting. But the swinging strike rate's been pretty diminished. But overall, though, I don't think we're missing much. We're not far from being last year, and if he gets close to last year, 30% K rate, 14% swinging strike rate, keep the barrel off the ball. So I would want to maybe be in on some Rasmussen, but I think I'm gonna forego it today. We got some splitter pushing in and out. Nolan something from the Angels is plus 1,300 for a bomb. Yeah, I think that Joaquin Noel call is kind of fun. Kind of fun. All right, let's go do a projection here, Molly. Let's go 18.5. Rasmussen, 21.5. Go 8.5. Rasmussen, 6. You know, the other day I ended my stream, and right as I ended, I looked at chat, and somebody was like, I like the show, but I wish it would be more of a podcast and less of a stream. And I was like, man, that's the first time I've ever heard someone say that. I was like, dude, I think that's why people hang out here. It's because it's more of a stream than a podcast. So it's a shame. We found someone who didn't like it. Who doesn't like jamming to music, researching baseball? Let's go find some outs here. There it is. I guess this game's off the board for outs, so maybe I give them both 16.5. Go from there. Mangum's the only player in the Rays lineup with a plus grade versus splitter. Haters? Nah, he wasn't coming at me with like hate energy, but I saw what he like. I could understand what he was saying, but I also was like, man, I think that's what makes us unique here. So many like super polished podcasts in the space, and I would say it's pretty close. I've streamed a lot of Twitch gaming. So, I mean, I guess I pull some of the vibes from that. I don't know. Everything's not everybody's cup of tea. Team stream. Yeah, no, that's kind of the goal, Heath. Especially with baseball. You got to leave your ego at the door with baseball. Because you could be the best baseball mind in the world. Within a week, you're going to be humbled, and you're not going to be right. You're going to be wrong more than you're right in baseball. So that's why whenever, and I've had this habit for years in every sport, where someone was like, yeah, I want to play this guy. And I'd be like, I wouldn't do it, but I see it, and I'll try to, you know what I mean? And I like the vibes we got here. But like I said, he wasn't toxic about it. He was like, I like it. I wish it was more of a podcast and less of a stream. And I was like, man, I think that's kind of our thing, though. Tigers and the White Sox next up. Bo Brisky taking on Shane Smith. I had a different pitcher last night, so I'm guessing this is a bullpen situation. We'll have to look into this. White Sox lineup is confirmed. Mike Tauchman, the Sockman, leading off. Chase Mydroth. But I just think in general, I made this comment on, me and Terry did a show last week, and I told him, I was like, in my opinion, the 3 best minds that you could listen to for DFS and baseball, and maybe I'm being a little non-humble there. Maybe I should say the 2 and me are all doing solo shows. A lot of times we're up against each other, and it's already hard to make a solo show kind of listening. I don't know. I like to listen to conversations. But a lot of shows, not necessarily in this space, but in general, when it's conversation, it's like it's fake conversations. It's whatever. Like they're discussing talking points. And in baseball, it's hard to have an opinion in baseball because the stats just are there for you. So I get why there's so many solo shows. But from a listening perspective, I don't know. You like to hear a couple different people. 4.9 run total for the Tigers, 3.8 for the White Sox. So we got mid-temps, mid-weather. Guess we got to figure out what's going on with the Tigers pitching here. Is this just a bullpen game? Go, Chargers, go. So this is who I had last night. Or excuse me, the long reliever. Gibson Long rejoined the Tigers over the weekend and is expected to be activated from 6-day IL to start or serve as a bulk reliever Tuesday or Wednesday against the White Sox. Anybody got some info on this? No wrong answer in baseball any given day. I mean, Jake knows as well. I've been telling Young C about not betting Ohtani homers at that price all season, and I just feel like every night Young C is posting his Ohtani slip and he's hitting. So I'm like, hey man, good for him. It's like I can't tell him not to do it. It's working for him. I like you, Stevie, Terry, and Fantasy Alarm, and RG and Osmo dudes are cool. Stevie? I don't know who Stevie is. I'm on. What's up, Chip? Appreciate that follow, dude. You're on O'Neill, Cruz, Kyle Stores, Schwarber, Wood, and Ben Rice. Nice. I feel like all those guys except Ben Rice are on the early slate, yeah? Oh shoot. I need to figure out what's going on. All right, so according to Chris, oh, I thought that said something else. Chris McCoskey. All right. Bo Brisky's the opener. I'm guessing Sawyer is the long reliever. I'm guessing any which way we dice it, we're not going to be that intrigued. The pitchers here. Stevie at RG, big in the baseball, NASCAR. Stevie. Oh, the NASCAR guy. Okay, yeah, I remember Stevie. Me and him never really crossed paths at all, ever. I guess we're just going offense here. Shane Smith, 22% K rate for him. 3.67 expected ERA. Tigers have been pretty solid. They have a near 5 run total. Tigers with the opener and their long reliever. I really don't think there's a reason to be there. And I mentioned this yesterday. White Sox suck, yes, on paper. No ISO, no average. But the averages and walks are kind of, like I said, Moneyball. They're kind of like Moneyball can get on base, right? 22% aggregate K rate, but it's being held up by Austin Slater, Michael A. Taylor, Vinny Capra. Vinny Capra is on the White Sox? Dude, wasn't he the home run leader in the spring training for the Brewers? Okay. But the walk rates are crazy for the White Sox here. So a lot of 10% plus walk rates and low K rates. So there's gonna be games where they troll pitchers into exhausting some pitch counts being up. So let's just go Tigers. And kind of leave it there. Morning grind. Sounds familiar. Yeah, I'm just gonna go Tigers, and we'll leave it at that. Talkman's been good. Like if you gotta put back pocket guys in your available, like my draw Talkman, if they fall into a lineup singular by themselves, sure. But for the most part, I'm just sticking with this. Not really a reason to get to the pitching on the Tiger side. Shane Smith, there's some usable stats in a usable park, but the Tigers have just been such a good overall team that I'm probably just gonna let it have it. Good times. Yeah, I wish. So I got a lot of love for RG for what they've done for DFS, but I'm guilty of not really watching a lot of their shows or been able to watch a lot of their stuff in the last couple of years. Obviously, when I was working with Stochastic, I was just on their shows, so I didn't have time to watch. When I could, I would though, because I had some friends on their shows, like my boy, the Spidey Bomb, dude. That's my boy. I can't think of his name right now. He was actually on one of my basketball shows, and then I like Dean a lot. Dean is hilarious. It'd be fun to set something up one time, right? They would have me and my Canadian brother. But I don't get to like make the rounds as much as I maybe want to. I am looking at the wrong run totals here for the Royals. There we go, Royals and Cardinals. 4.2 run total for the Royals. Cardinals 5.1. Cardinals lineup is out. Nootbaar, Wynn, Donovan, Wilson Contreras, Ivan Herrera, Nolan Arenado, Alec Burleson, Nolan Gorman, and Victor Scott. The other thing is, like I was watching my boy Emac on the Sunday show for Stochastic a couple weeks ago. This is my name, and I'm gonna type in chat. It says MLB Grind with Gundacker. Now, when I made the name, I thought it would just be for the YouTube channel. So now I feel like I don't want to type in anyone else's chat. Other than Terry, I can type in his chat, but I don't want to type in chats when my name looks like a freaking, I don't know, self promo. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel self-conscious about that. I'm contemplating switching it just so I can be more active or have a second account where I could talk, but I don't know. Why is Stochastic as active as they have been in the past? I mean, I haven't noticed them not be active. I feel like they still do streams pretty regularly, but I think the general movement of this industry is going into sports betting, and that's something we've seen the writing on the wall for the last couple of years. And you got to go where the people is. Like, I don't think the ecosystem for DFS is, no one's feeding fresh fish into this pond. You know what I mean? It's all us bitter guys. Because if you're 18, 19 years old now, and you want to gamble, simulators, optimizers, ownership percent, blah blah. People don't do this. They see the prize picks, the player props, the parlays. That's gonna suck in all the new guys. And DFS is dying, guys. I hate to be that guy. Maybe for football, it's got some length left, but I don't think this ecosystem is gonna be fed enough. Like I rarely get people saying I'm new to DFS in chat these days, and it's usually a lot of people looking for prop bets and prize pick slips and stuff like that. And that's just, it's easier betting, it's easier to understand, easier to sweat, and it's you versus the house. You're not facing computers in the field, or at least you don't feel like you are. So we're the last of a dying breed, is what it is. Me and Dean would be epic. Yeah, I would have fun, dude. I don't know, that would be fun. I would do a RG show for free if they would have me, just so I could have that on the checklist, and then it would be fun talking with Dean and TJ on the show once. I just fell away from Adam left. Yeah, Adam was a big piece of. If you watched the show with Adam on, you knew you were getting some good stuff. I don't think me and Adam's ever done a show before either, because we were both analysts. Appreciate that. Lorenzen's a legit 7-pitch pitcher, so I'm taking this game off from a pitch breakdown. Not quite the Yu Darvish. All right, Payante taking on Michael Lorenzen. 19% K rate for Lorenzen. Cardinals have a 5.1 run total out here in Busch, and that's not something you see quite often. The story of this game, once you get past the 5.1 run total, is the Royals have called up Jack Caglione, and he has been one of the generational power prospects And so much so that he comes in hot with a $3,500 price tag. A lot of times these kids come in with a 2K, 2.5K price tag. The other thing about Jack Caglione, and I learned this yesterday, and it kind of annoys me, and maybe Jake, you'll find some irkness about this too, is Jack is not the man's name. His name is Jeffrey Allen Caglione, and Jack is his initials. So in a weird way, his initial is his last name, so his name is really redundant. And that's all I gotta say about that. But he's pretty doggone good. Now he's going against a heavy ground ball guy, but he does give up some power, so he'll be fun to watch. If I'm the Royals, I want to bring up Jack Caglione. I kind of want to do it on a homestead, whatever, but maybe you'll get some swings out of him. But it'd be a shame if his first home run happened not in Bush if you're a team like the Royals and you're not really playing for keeps, right? Cardinals stack 5.1 run total. You got to respect that. Lorenzen gives up some power to both sides of the plate. Lot of juice here. 1.2 home run per nine to lefties. So Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan look pretty good. And then against righties, the same 1.67 home run per nine, more homers to righties. So you can dip into Wilson Contreras and even some Ivan Herrera. And yeah, I'm in on that. Payante, big ground ball guy, like we said. Higher average to righties, a little bit of homers to righties as well. I think the scrappiness of the Royals, if they can get some of these ground balls to bleed through, maybe they're worth a sub stack. I think I'm gonna refrain from typing that, and I'm gonna just go Cardinals as that. Yeah. Any props you missed? Nah, I've just been kind of researching out loud. But if there's anything that you're thinking about, go for it. If there's any prop that you want to look at, type it and I'll look at it. Am I on Caglione? Young dude with a power, but first game 3.5K. I'm on him in the sense that, like, yeah, he's cheap enough. I think the Fanduel price is a little bit better. Am I gonna feature him in like a single entry? Probably not. He's not one of those 2K specials that I like to line up for. We'll see where he is actually batting in the lineup. But Payante, to his credit, big ground ball guy, and a lot of guys get those first game jitters. Can't imagine he's going to come with a ton of ownership, but it's definitely somebody to watch for from a real life perspective. Let's go do a pitcher projection. We didn't do one on this game. So Brisky, let's go 16%. Shane Smith, 22. Brisky, let's go 9%. Shane Smith, 9.5. Brisky, I'm gonna go 4.5. I don't know what his outs should be. And then Shane Smith, 15. And then Lorenzen, let's give him a K prop of 19.1. Victor Scott, a little nine hole surprise. Walk rate 7.5. Payante 9. Get some outs. 17.5, 15.5. All right, that's how that shakes out. So it gives us nothing crazy. Next up, go from 7:45 to 9:40. So we get a little 2-hour dinner break here. Those of you that have to, pretend like you're listening to your wives or children. This is where you want to. Once this game starts, you got 2 hours. And you go Orioles and Mariners. Tomoyaki Sagano up against George Kirby out there in T-Mobile. Orioles have a 3.6 run total. Mariners 4.1. Sagano versus Kirby. Sagano a 14% K rate on the season, 7.6% swinging strike rate. Kirby a 19% K rate, 1.85 on the whip, and a 9 expected ERA. All that in just 8 innings of work. We are looking for him to look a little bit more like yesteryear, where he's a good pitcher. 5 innings against Washington, 3 bombs served up. Houston walked away with almost a K per inning, or a little over a K per inning, depending on how you slice it up, and kind of the same against Washington. So I guess we need to dive into his single game results. But I will say, Washington and Houston, it feels like two teams that err on the side of scrappiness. We look at his stuff plus this season: 100, dead even, plate discipline, 10.7% swinging strike rate, 12% called strike. That's down 3% from last year. Again, very small sample on that. We look at his pitch types and velos: 95.9. That's right there where it was last year. Looks like his velos are all pretty linear. It's got a faster knuckle curve. What do you got, Jake? Gee, Kirby. Sagano pitches to contact. Not yet. We don't really target contact pitchers. Throw the splitter a lot. Number 1 splitter in baseball is Cal Raleigh. Where's C at? Yeah, I haven't seen C post a lot of rally slips. Has Cal Raleigh dipped under plus 200 in the home run odds day to day like Judge and Ohtani? Not a ton of sample here, but bad expected metrics on sliders, fastball. So all the expected metrics in small sample are not great. Only 2 pitches with a 30+% whiff, and that's the fastball and the knuckle curve. He's not throwing the curve that much so far. I guess lastly, let's look at Kirby's pitch count. 78, went up 6 pitches from the start prior. He might be on a 5-inning diet. Otherwise, we add 10 to 15. So 85 to 90 might not be a crazy outcome. Coming off a day off, though. Rested bullpen. Interesting. Orioles, 25.87% K rate. This is really being amplified by Kobe Mayo right now. Just absolutely atrocious K rate. 32% K rate on Dylan Carlson. The lane, a little bit more scrappy with Adley, O'Hearn, and Urias. But yeah, this is kind of like a unknown. Like, it's a good matchup for Kirby if we get back to some of his yesteryear metrics. It's going to be a lefty-heavy lineup, most likely. So far, not getting lefties out like he was in the last 2 seasons, but small sample. Is he going to find his way to start converting those into more strikeouts? More than likely, yeah, considering most of these other like velos and stuff are pretty similar. Just a matter of getting the rust off, yeah. But we're dealing with the unknown, 8,200. And if you're going to be a contact pitcher for Sagano against one of the most fun offenses in baseball with a strikeout problem, I'm interested in that offense. So we're going to go Mariners. As a matter of fact, I think if we really split the Mariners up against righties, I think they're like top 4 or something like that. Let's go Mariners, WRC plus. They're top 5, so they slipped to 5. 112 WRC plus. You look at their power. Seattle 7th in homers, 6th in stolen bases. And 10th in strikeouts. So their strikeouts, the memory of the spreadsheet goes to the beginning of last year, but they've been striking out a little less. So if you're going to go against a guy that's more contact than not and dare some of these big swings, I'm interested. Both sides of the plate. And then if you guys haven't seen, there's a fun little video floating around Twitter of Cole Young being told in the minors that he's getting the call up to the majors. It was emotional, hugging, and then he gets a walk-off hit and celebrated. That's what baseball's for. find some time to go watch that video. Mariners, my favorite outcome of this game. Then I think I go. I think I stab at George Kirby and then Orioles. Yeah, not in on Sagano. Go Sagano, 14% K rate. Kirby, give him a 20. Go 4.5 for Sagano. Kirby, 7. And then let's go get some outs. 17.5. Wait, what? Ooh, that's a lot of implied outs there. And for Kirby, I'm just going to stop him at 15. We get more, that's good. We get less, whatever. Padres up against the Giants. Burgert against Roop. Is this another bullpen game? Taxi Squad. A month ago, he was out there, the bullpen. See if he's got any minor league starts lately. He does. May 28th, we went 4 innings. All right. And then Landon Roop, we've seen him a few times this year. 22.6% K rate, 143 on the whip. It is a pitcher's park. 5,500 make you look at a pitcher quite a bit, but I don't really think this is the spot where I want to get too curious. Has been a strikeout per inning in his minor league starts. Almost 14 Ks, 16.1 innings. Yeah, I'm gonna play that a little safe. Roop has had a power problem to righties, average to righties, despite striking righties out at a pretty high clip at a sub-3 whip. So this one, I mean, it would be Tatis, Machado for me. Doesn't strike out lefties as much with a higher xFIP, so maybe Jackson Merrill and Cronenworth come into the conversation. But it is a tough park to generate some offense in. 3.7 run total for the Padres. Giants at a 4.5. There's really nothing here I love. So this game just might exist, right? 13 game slate. Sometimes you can't stack them all. And I think this is one. So let's go put a pitcher projection in here. I'm going to boost Burgett to like 19% K rate. Roop, I'm going to give him a 22.5. I'm going to give him a run-of-the-mill 6% walk rate. Roop, I'm going to give him 8%. Go get some outs. 15.5. I'm going to go 15.5 for Roop. For Burger, I'm going to give him 12.5 outs. Let's see what that shakes out, you know. What up, Josh? We locking Strider? No, but I get it. I mean, there's not. I'll say it. I don't think there's a pitcher in the league right now I would lock against the D-backs. Tariq Skubal. I wouldn't lock him. I would like him, obviously. We're betting on the pitchers in the next year, but So he gained 6 miles an hour on a fastball. That's funny. You don't see him on Fanduel. If you're talking about like the betting app, a lot of times the apps won't give you lines to bet on these openers or these start relievers that they don't know how long are going. You know, I think Strider would be 10K his next start. I think it's very possible. Or, I mean, I don't know. We looked at it. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Strider's in the ranking. You know, I put I have him third behind the offenses. but the expected ERA and the K rate's down. Like, I'll take the 1-4 K rate all day long, all day strong. And a lot of his metrics and his velos look fine. I think we were still like 1 mile an hour below last year, but it's just the D-backs are good. This park is good for hitters. Bullpens are beatable, so that's why I'm not locking him. But sure, he's in the pool. All right, 2 games left. And then we'll go update some lineups. We got the Athletics and Twins. 6 run total for the Twins. Athletics a 4.3. We got Jacob Lopez toeing the slab against Pablo Lopez. 25% K rate for Pablo, 22% for Lopez. Battle of the Lopez brothers. I don't think they're actually brothers. 12.1% swing and strike rate for Pablo this season. He has been really good, really consistent. So was Joe Ryan, and Sacramento can play pretty deadly to opposing pitchers, and that's what we saw happen to Joe Ryan again last night. So while I do think the Twins offense is going to generate a lot of steam, and early projections have them as easily the highest owned stack on the slate, and it's not even close. They've gone down 1% to 16% ownership as a stack, but to put that in perspective, they're 11% essentially above the next stack. So there's a lot of coagulated and concentrated ownership on this twin stack. But I get it. 185 whip for Jacob Lopez, backed by one of the worst bullpens in baseball, in one of the best hitting environments in baseball, Sacramento. Like Ross says, warm temps for the A's game with winds blowing out on a minor league field. So a lot of good stuff going their way in Sacramento. I'm gonna give them a little bit of a weather boost too. I'm gonna give them a half a point for now. I don't even think they need that, but I'm gonna give them a half a point for now. And yeah, we're in on Twins, in on Pablo Lopez, in on Athletics, out on Jacob Lopez. I don't think Pablo is going to be pushing 30% owned like Joe Ryan was yesterday. Jacob Lopez. Let's go check out some outs. Pablo's at 18 outs. Good for him. And then Jacob Lopez, I guess I'm going to give him 14 outs. Is that fair? It's not fair. What the freak? Homie is all over the road. I'm going to give him 12 and a half outs. Oh, Beto now? You're right. I did see Beto. That's on. Actually, I don't know. It might be both of them. But I did see Beto earlier. You're right on that. Recalled Beto. I'm with you. I think I will put Osvaldo Beto as the starter, but it could be a group thing. So we can find some. But I think we might just see both pitchers somehow. Four lineups into 5. I respect it. What teams are going to focus on? If I was throwing less than 150 lineups, less than 20, I was throwing one lineup. on a 13 game slate, I don't want this to influence anything you do. I would probably be all in or all out on a 16% owned stack. And I'd probably be all out. Look at the bullpen usage for the Athletics today. All right, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I'm with. Just a good spot for the Twins. Dude, 150 max on a $111 entry on a 13 game slate. Whoo! Whoo! Now I've been going in on the mini max, the 50 cent mini max, and usually you'll find me in the top 10 for a good bit of the night. Either I hang on for dear life or I implode when one of my pitchers gets smoked. Main event tonight: Mets and the Dodgers. Tyler McGill taking on Clayton Kershaw. Mets have a 4.3 run total. Dodgers 4.9. McGill a 30% K rate overall, 35.5% to righties, 25% to lefties. We could polish up McGill's season as much as we want. Boy, does it turn into some sanded down, primed pitching when we instantly consider the fact that it's up against the Dodgers, and I think I saw Mookie Betts is back in the lineup, so there's not a lot of pitchers I want to pitch against the Dodgers, especially when they're at their full form. Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Teo, and then Max Muncy. So this is something Jake brought to my attention the other day in Discord. And Muncy had been a shell of his former self. And on April 30th, Max Muncy started wearing glasses to help with his astigmatism. And this is something we've seen tracked. Before he started wearing these glasses, a 32.4% K rate has converted that to 15%. So he's given up, he's lost half of his strikeout stuff in the small sample. 59 WRC plus to now 164. 0 homers to 7 homers. Let me see them glasses, bro. So we talked about Rhys Hoskins and his in the torpedo bat, but maybe Max Muncy's not getting the love that he deserves with putting on some glasses. And that's, one thing this putrid Dodgers offense needed was another just really, really good hitter to round out the order. So with Muncy's glasses, if you believe in it, I think we do. I think we know Max Muncy is good. We could buy into his high ISO, his high OPS, 147 WRC plus. Just overall a really tough spot for any pitcher on the planet Earth. So individually, we're getting into the Dodger stack, and then Clayton Kershaw has just not been Clayton Kershaw. He's declined in stuff. He's older. I think you can get into some Mets interest. Some of our Mets bats against lefties are our favorite splits. I mean, this would be the one I think for the Mets to take if they're gonna start taking. 138 WRC plus for Lindor. He homered yesterday. Starling Marte, if he's in the 2-hole, he actually projects pretty well. He was one of the better values in the bomb detector. And then 1 through 4, just all really, really good. This is the offense game for me. I don't think I get to either pitcher in a vacuum, and if it was like a 2-3 game slate, I'd probably take some shares of McGill, but I'm probably not doing that here. So I'm not. That's why they pay you the big bucks. Oh, for that wasn't me. Jake brought it. Jake's a Dodgers guy now, so he keeps up with that. So let's put out a projection here for McGill. 30%. Clayton Kershaw. 13%. Jesus. 13% K rate on Clayton. I mean, that's just 5 year ago me is just like freaking out. Let's go 10% there. Let's go check out our outs. 15. So I guess we don't really know what we're doing for Kershaw outs, huh? $74 pitches, 83 pitches. I'd probably put him around 14 and a half. Go from there. Any QS points we need to hand out? Carlos Rodon, I'll give him 2.5. Sanchez, I'll give him 1. Hunter Green, I'll give him 2.5. Kikuchi, not gonna be able to do it. Not gonna be able to do it. Payante, Sagano, Pablo, I'll give him 2.5. All right, so we're done with our pitcher projections. Let's go ahead and open up that tab. Then we'll go get our, we'll get some lineups updated. Pitching comes out. Hunter Green, 1. Oh, no, it doesn't. I lied. Rodon, Pablo, then Hunter Green, Sanchez, Freddie. This is for Fanduel scoring for DraftKings. Pretty similar. Let's go get a main stack rating. And go remove this early slate. And then we'll go get our early lineups updated. Hit Washington. All right, stack rating gives us Minnesota, the Dodgers, Philly. So where the Dodgers at as a stack ownership? Dodgers are 4th. Well, like I said, the drop off from Minnesota to every other team is pretty crazy. Tigers came in 2nd. I lied. Royals come in 2nd, then Tigers, then Dodgers. Anybody in the bottom? Arizona's at 2% owned. Seattle's at 2% owned, 2.5. I mean, there's a lot of high octane teams at 2 to 4% stack ownership. So could be a night for a contrarian mind if the Twins don't deliver. Ohtani? You think it's a sneaky spot for Shohei Ohtani, Jake? I have to write that down. Let's go refresh the bond detector. J-Ram's actually at the top. Maybe I shouldn't have updated the stats for J-Ram. He's been kind of crossing it lately. Actually, I feel like Ohtani's. How did Ohtani get that low? Couple guys above him. Yeah, I guess that weather adjustment boosted some of the Twins. All right, let's go update some lineups. If you guys are new to the channel, or know what the heck I'm doing, I'm upkeeping the spreadsheet, the premium spreadsheet from MLBGrind.com. If you guys want to add this spreadsheet to your daily repertoire of research, it is my baby. Over the last decade, I've cultivated, curated, evolved, developed this thing to be the average man's source, to be a thinking man's player, meaning you could quickly digest every game with an advanced analytical perspective, using stats and splits that I find the most useful to me, and can make some pretty quick decisions. So while I have all day to research baseball and fine tune this, I know most of you guys have jobs, have lives, have families, and you can't. So this is my way of making everybody play on as about an even playing field as you can, without, clicking simulate. So if you guys want access to this, it's a good little companion to your prop bets and your DFS lineup construction. Offer stack ratings, pitcher projections, home run projections, stuff like that. Go to MLBgrind.com, click premium membership, sign up. You can lock into the rest of the year for $100. That's pretty cool. And then you also get a link to the MLB Grind premium spreadsheet, premium Discord, and we'd love to have you in there. So check that out. That's the one plug of the stream. Now we're gonna go update some lineups. Is J-Ram better from the right or the left side? I think he's better from the right, meaning higher ISO against lefties. So against the lefties, J-Ram 321 ISO, against righties 226. So that's still pretty good against righties, but yeah. All right, let's go update as many lineups as we can. If some of you guys are gonna get out of here, just hit that thumbs up before you do. But if you got any questions, comments, concerns about the slate, anything you want to revisit, throw it in chat. Astros lineup is out: Pena, Paredes, Altuve, Christian Walker, Diaz, Caratini, Myers, Cam Smith, Jacob Melton. Melton in your mouth, not in your hand. Look at that. The Astros added a lefty, y'all. That's what that looks like. Good for them. Cubs lineup, and this will zero out the early slate. Jan Happ, Seiya Suzuki batting second. Oh, there's no Tucker. PCA batting third. That'll help Rich's little taco. But no Kyle Tucker's pretty big. I mean, that's like really big, actually. Does that mean he got traded to the Yankees? I think that's what that means, actually. Marcus Stroman's on hug watch. Move that total down. That total up. And that will zero out our early slate. The Astros allowed to do that. Any bats you're eyeing to do well? Is that a main slate or the whole day question? Basically, I like to look at the weaknesses of pitchers. So in this game, PCA and Kyle Tucker were the guys. Now it's PCA. Maybe Michael Busch steps in. And I guess as we go here and update some lineups, I'll sniff out the top bats. Juan Martinez, J-Ram, David Fry, Carlos Santana. Who else did I see linked to the Dodgers? Or no, I saw Padres linked to Jarren Duran. Oh man, your Noel went to the 9-hole, Pojen. Obviously, J-Ram stands out here. So J-Ram actually has the highest bomb detector rating on the slate at a 4.78, giving him a 19% probability to homer against Rodon. That's the same as Judge on this slate, which, if you disagree with it, I get it. But 321 ISO against lefties, he gets the benefit of Yankee Stadium. Cool. Yankees lineup came out: Trent Grisham, Ben Rice batting second. I knew he wasn't going to go lower. Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Goldie, Jazz Chisholm, Anthony Volpe. So it's fun that Jazz is back, but we can't forget Jazz sucked before he got injured. So we'll see what the bottom of this lineup looks like. But 1 through 6 looks really fun. And if Jazzy fixed something while being out, that's cool. But on the Yankee side against Bybee, so looking for your big swings, right? Your Ben Rices, your Judges, and your bellies. Those are the 3 names that stand out to me. Phillies lineup is out. We're looking for Bryce Harper to be back. He is. Bryson Stott, Trey Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Alec Boehm, Castellanos, Max Kepler, Real Muto, Brandon Marsh, as projected. Up against Bo Bichette, Vladdy, Springer, Kirk, Barger, Ernie Clement, Schneider, Straw, and Andres Jimenez, no class. Who does well against Francis pre-flop? Well, he allows a lot to lefties, so I hate to be a loser, but Harper and Schwarber. It is fun that they lead off a lefty with Bryson Stott, and they also have a lot of low K rates now, so look for that. As far as the bomb detector goes, how far do we scroll before we get to some Phillies bats? We get to Schwarber at a 4.24 on the bomb detector. That's about a 17% probability. Cool. And obviously, Bryce Harper ain't no punk. Where is Harper at? Why is he so much lower than... Comes in at 16%. I guess we're splitting hairs. Maybe I should put decimals in my probability. Inversely, Sanchez, righties that might get him. Vladdy, 239 ISO, 319 average. And then we looked at Sanchez. We know he's a... his changeup is pretty deadly, right? Vladdy hits changeups pretty well. So does Alejandro Kirk. What to watch for there. Brewers lineup did not come out. We already had a Reds lineup. Angels and Red Sox, we already had that. D-backs and Braves, we already had that. Rangers and Rays, so we do get to add the Rangers lineup. Remember, there's some weather here. Smith, Langford, Seager, Young, Alejandro Osuna, Marcus Semien. Semien's bat looks like it might be waking up. I don't have a glasses explanation for that one. Tigers, no. Royals, India with Michael Garcia batting third. He got scratched the other night. It was really annoying. Have to go back and global swap. Haven't used that feature in a while. Salvi and then Jack Caglianone batting sixth. Nick Lofton, Drew Waters, Kyle Isbell. As far as what to watch for in this game, obviously Nootbaar tapping into Lorenzen's lefty splits, but he allows power to both sides of the plate. But Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan, probably Wilson Contreras, the 3 names that stick out the most. Ivan Herrera can swing a big stick, though. And that's it. Everything else is all caught up. Cool. What's today? Tuesday? Wednesdays are kind of iffy. Let's see what the schedule looks like tomorrow. Tomorrow there's 2 random early games. Cool. And then we get a normal slate. So I guess we would try to be back at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central. Otherwise, I'll be in the Discord. It's my buddy, my brother. Live, yes.
But he's probably also...
All right, if you guys want some more baseball chatter going, my boy Terry's still alive. Go check him out. And maybe me and him will get together again soon this week. I appreciate you guys. Twitter.com/Gunduck or MLBGrind.com. Go get yourself. Go the rest of the year. $100. What's $100? Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Hope you guys crush it tonight. Tell somebody you love them. I love you. I love you. Like brother love. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.